There is something that the wealthy don't want you to know. It's not a conspiracy. It's not even hidden. It's right in front of us, written into the rules of the game itself. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. The thing is, even knowing the game is rigged doesn't mean you have to lose. In fact, some people use this exact knowledge to win bigger than ever. Stay with me. We're about to expose the system and show you the moves that still work. Let me start with a number that changed everything for me. In 2020, the top 1% gained about $6.5 trillion in wealth in 1 year, while millions lost their jobs. And here's the part nobody talks about. It's not because they worked harder. It's because the system compounds in their favor. When you have $1 million and it grows at 8% per year, you make $80,000 just from doing nothing. That's more than the median American makes working full time. But if you have $1,000 and it grows at 8%, you make $80. You still have to work. This isn't luck. This isn't hard work. This is mathematics. Specifically, it's called leverage. And that's just the beginning of how it's rigged. The wealthy have something else: information flow. They know about investment opportunities before regular people do. They sit in boardrooms. They get calls from their brokers. They're on distribution lists for IPOs that regular investors can't even access. Remember the GameStop situation? Retail investors found out at 3 p.m. that something was happening. Institutional traders knew at 10 a.m. That 3-hour BAP meant billions. But here's what really twisted my brain. Even when we do get the same information, we processed it differently. The wealthy have financial advisors who specialize in behavioral economics. They know that you, statistically, will panic sell during a crash. You'll chase winners. You'll feel the pain of losses twice as intensely as the pleasure of gains. They know this about you because it's documented. It's in the psychology, and they use it. Meanwhile, they're wired differently, not because they're smarter, but because they have education that teaches them to ignore emotions. This is where most people give up. They think, if the game is rigged, why bother? But that's exactly where the real opportunity lives. Let me tell you about Maria. She's not wealthy. She makes $45,000 a year. But at 22 years old, she did something most people don't. She opened a Roth IRA and put in $7,000. Then she did almost nothing. She let compound interest do the work. By the time Maria turned 65, without adding another single dollar, that $7,000 became $847,000. That's not magic. That's just time plus 8% returns. It's mathematics. Now, a wealthy person might have gotten to $1 million faster, but Maria, she won the game where the game was rigged against her because she understood one thing. Time is the only resource the wealthy can't buy more of. This is the first move. Start, even if it's small. But there's more, because starting early is move 1, understanding what to invest in is move 2. Most people keep their money in savings accounts, earning 0.1%. They think it's safe. But do you know what's not safe? Losing 3% to inflation every single year. That's a guaranteed loss. The second move? Stop thinking about safety. Start thinking about risk-adjusted returns. If you have a 30-year time horizon, a crashing year 1 doesn't hurt you. You have 29 years to recover. You have 29 years of compound interest to come back stronger. I know this sounds scary. When the market drops 20%, your stomach will drop too. This is where the wealthy's advantage kicks in. They've been taught to see a crash as a discount, not a disaster. You can teach yourself the same thing. Here's where it gets real. The wealthiest people I studied don't rely on emotions or guessing. They have systems. And a system is just a set of rules you follow regardless of how you feel. For example, Rule 1, invest $500 every single month, no matter what. Market up, you invest. Market down, you can invest harder. Rule 2, don't check your portfolio more than quarterly. Step away from the constant noise. Rule 3, rebalance your assets once a year. That's it. Those 3 rules have generated wealth for thousands of ordinary people. But here's the thing the game's designers don't want you to know. The wealthy rely on these systems because they work, and you have access to the exact same systems. They're not secret, they're not locked away. So why do most people never use them? Because they require discipline. They require patience. They require you to do boring things consistently, and boring doesn't sell. Exciting sells. The whole financial media system keeps you addicted to excitement because excitement keeps you reactive, and reactive investors lose. The move that still wins isn't exciting. It's boring, consistently boring, and that's your edge. Now, there's one more thing, the most overlooked move. This is going to sound obvious, but hear me out. The single fastest way to build wealth isn't investment returns. It's increasing your income. A 5% raise on a $45,000 salary is over $2,000 a year. That money invested could become $300,000 over 40 years. But for most people, that raise just disappears into their checking account, barely noticed. See, the wealthy don't just increase their salary, they increase their leverage. They write a book for passive income. They start a business for scalable income. They invest in real estate for leveraged income. They understand that trading your time for money has a ceiling. You can't out-invest a low income, but you can out-earn most investors. The next move, increase your income through a secondary stream, no matter how small. For a content creator, that might be a course. For someone in tech, freelancing. Start small. Make an extra $100 a month. Invest it. In 40 years, that could be worth $130,000 to you. And suddenly, the game doesn't feel so rigged anymore. So let's bring this back. How is the game rigged? It's rigged because the wealthy understand leverage. They know that doing nothing with money compounds in their favor. But we just discovered the 3 moves that level the playing field. Move 1, time is your greatest leverage. Start now, even if it's small. Move 2, create a boring system and follow it without emotion. And move 3, don't just earn income, create multiple streams of it. The game isn't rigged against these 3 moves. These moves are how you win a rigged game. I know it can sound like a lot. You might feel behind. You might be thinking, I'm 35. I should have started at 22. But the second best time to plant a tree is today. The best time was 20 years ago, sure, but today is the only time you can actually act. The system is rigged, but the rules of compound interest, behavioral discipline, and income leverage work for everyone, no exceptions. If you found this useful, there's one thing that helps more than anything. Hit that subscribe button, not just for the numbers, but because every time you subscribe, you're telling the algorithm that you want more content about how money actually works. Not the flashy stuff, the real stuff. We break down behavioral finance, wealth psychology, and the hidden systems most people never learn about. Thanks for listening. Now go build something.